Now, guys, welcome back to Whiskey Therapy. And this is going to be the first official session, if you would. And I'm going to go ahead and bottle kill my golden grains. This is, I'll make sure I might Viking it, but I think I got every morsel of that booger. Question that we are going to start asking people, and I'll start myself, say, hey man, what are you going through? What have you been through? How are you managing yourself emotionally, right? So the first thing that I've experienced as a kid was abandonment. As an adult, abandonment. You don't realize you're lonely because at 5, you get used to being abandoned. So then you realize there's a loneliness to this life that you can't understand. I could be in a room full of people, which I have been, and still feel lonely because my mind's thinking about 20,000 other things. And then there's no one to talk to about it. So who do you go and speak with about your greatest dreams and aspirations? There's a famous quote, and it's not famous because everyone saw it. It's famous because if it landed on your time like it did, but it said, it's funny how you can call 5 people and go get basically fucked up in the nicest way. But most people don't know 5 people they can call and build a business with. I do. I got to be honest, I do. But it doesn't mean that they don't experience sense of loneliness at times. And you hear it, it's lonely at the top, right? And you say, well, what does loneliness feels like? It doesn't feel like I need people, to be clear. Oftentimes what it feels like, I need people with vision. And unfortunately, a lot of people struggle with vision. I need people that are talented. Talent you manage because they can go out and execute. I need people who are gifted. I need people who show up and want to do the work. See the problem? So you've got big dreams and high hopes, and I've been a victim of my own choices many, many times over the years. And that's me seeing someone and wanting to see them be great, and they just don't want to. So when I'm looking back at moments, even in me trying to build this whiskey thing, for a good while, it's felt like I've been doing it alone. And I was stupid enough when I was younger to think I could do everything by myself. Let me tell you this right now. If you think for 1 second you could do anything, all things by yourself, you are playing yourself. It just doesn't work that way. I'm a brand guy, which means I struggle. I master communication. I ain't no CEO, CFO, CTO, none of them people. COO. I'm the guy who can make it popular and be clear and then build it out through social media, marketing, branding, framework, using the camera, etc. So when you're looking back at where we started, I mean, I'm not going to say nobody's name on this particular, because it's not their fault. But I told the people around me, I said, I messed up blaming this person for this not working. It wasn't their fault. They weren't even around long enough to do the work. By the time it started working, they was gone. And then I didn't do a good job, or any job for that matter, building or leveraging being at the blendery. And it's because I was annoyed, disappointed, discouraged. Because I know how hard it is to build people. I know how hard it is to build a personnel. I know how hard it is to build a team. I know how hard it is to get people to do stuff. I'm like, I don't want to do it. But you said it. I said, I'm going to build a whiskey business and a whiskey brand. I had no clue what I meant at the time. I have a good idea now, but it requires work. The one thing I am good at is work, branding communication, etc. No one's to blame for where you're at and where you're not other than you. Challenge is you have to believe in you. I failed for a whole year straight because I didn't do one thing I asked that person to do, even though they weren't going to do it. Which also means I didn't lead by example. Because I was there too. Why didn't I make 1 post or 7 posts a week just being there? But the worst part of it all is pointing the finger when I'm already doing the work. So you go through this cycle of this big dream. Got this big dream. I'm going to do this. This is what we're going to call it. It's a good idea. It is. But if you don't do the work, that's all it is. And what did they tell you? basically a plan or an idea without such and such is just a hope and a wish. And I don't wish that this works. I know it can work because I've already proven the concept. But here's something you have to conceptualize when you are sitting there with a good idea and doing none of the work. It only works if you do the work. It only matters if you make it matter. It only will mean something to people if it means something to you. And I didn't do enough. So part of this is, if I had stuck to the plan, doubled down, focused on the art of whiskey, whiskey therapy, bourbon recess, the brand I want to build, leveraging being in the blendery, having direct access, shooting my own style of content while shooting this, we would be right there in terms of following as the blendery is. And you go, well, we did it. Can you do it again? Absolutely. But all those excuses I just told you are make you feel stupid, useless, definitely more alone than ever, because I structured it the way that we would be a team and we would get to the same place at the same time. But it's only my fault if it doesn't work, because I'm the one who brought it to the table. Said, hey guys, I think this could work. Then what I loved is looking at everybody's face, and everybody's face, and I say this day like, oh, that sounds like a good idea, Trev. The idea is as good as the work. And of course, great whiskey. And the funny part is, here I am going down the whiskey rabbit hole, or the whiskey road, per se. And I'm learning more about myself than I probably have in any other industry, next to fitness. And even in fitness, I learned a ton, not from lifting up weights, but from those athletes and those kids. Those kids, those young men made me a better man. And the irony is, with that community I had who was always around me, here I am in the whiskey community. The check-ins, the conversations, the friendships, the food, the consideration, the front row to greatness. It only fails if I do. So here I am as a man, and we've all been through it. We've all lived in our failures. We've all lived in a state of excuses. I say this all the time, excuses aren't solutions. We've all pointed the finger, and I know I have. But 99.9% of the time, it's just your fault.